LA Rider is brought to you by Dudley Debosier Injury Lawyers, serving Louisiana motorcyclists and their families for nearly 2 decades. Dudley Debosier, official injury lawyers for the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign.
When you're on a motorcycle, you got to look out for all kinds of stuff. But after a crash, it's a danger you can't see that can really get you.
The insurance company is working behind the scenes to deny you compensation.
They're building a case against you, but at Dudley Debosier, we're working for you.
Keep your head on a swivel. Let these guys look out for you. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley Debosier. 444-4444.
Hello and welcome to LA Rider, Louisiana's only television show devoted entirely to motorcycle lifestyles, travel, and adventure. I'm T.W. Robinson, and we're so excited you're joining us today for the beginning of our 19th year. Can you believe it? 19 years. Since our first broadcast on May 5th, 2005, we have collectively ridden over 300,000 miles and aired 936 weekly episodes. And we are just getting started. This week, we take a ride to the small Louisiana town of Jackson for a visit to an incredible model railroad museum and lunch at the Iron Horse Cafe. The 2023 riding season is in full swing, and hundreds of Baton Rouge area bikers kicked it off with the Fallen Riders Foundation's annual Blessing of the Bikes. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, and we check in with the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign to see how they are working hard to save lives and get us seen on the highways. All this and much more on this edition of LA Rider. So twist that throttle and let's take a ride. When most bikers hear the term Iron Horse, they immediately think someone is talking about a motorcycle. But in the town of Jackson, Louisiana, the Iron Horse Cafe pays tribute to another kind of iron horse, the steam-powered locomotive. Since I was a little girl, I have always loved trains. My father was a railroad man, and I remember from an early age loving the sound of a big locomotive roaring down the track. So when Brent Kelly told me there was a new restaurant in Jackson, Louisiana with a railroad theme, naturally I had to take a ride there. Brent's house is less than 30 minutes from Jackson, and the ride through lower East Feliciana Parish up LA 964 and LA 68 is always a pleasant one. It was a beautiful day to boot. A perfect day for a short ride through the countryside. Jackson is a town of about 3,800 people. It was founded in 1815. Originally, the area was known as Bear Corners, but Andrew Jackson reportedly camped here on his way north after the Battle of New Orleans, and that is how it got its name. Before Feliciana Parish was split into East and West in 1824, Jackson was the seat of government. Centenary College was located here until 1908, and the Clinton to Port Hudson Railway had a spur that ran through town. The railroad is long gone, and an effort to restore a part of it as a tourist attraction has stalled. but references to rail travel and the Old Hickory Railroad, which is what the spur was called, are everywhere, including the Iron Horse Cafe and Pub, which opened last year. Located right on Highway 10 on the west end of town, the Iron Horse pays tribute to the railroad and its connection to the town of Jackson. There are railroad crossing lights in the parking lot and a drive-through disguised at the back end of a locomotive. I'm starving as usual.
Well, that's a good thing.
You know, it's way past my lunchtime. The Iron Horse menu features everything from burgers and po' boys to steaks and fresh-caught seafood. They even have a wood-fired pizza oven and a cozy cocktail bar. We started out with something called truffle parm fries. Crispy house-made French fries covered with Parmesan and drizzled with truffle oil. Believe me, they didn't last long. Or so good. Truffle fries are one of my favorite things in the world. Always the healthy eater, Brent chose a salad for his main course. I, however, chose the Iron Horse Smash Burger, which came highly recommended by LA Rider viewer Jude Weibel. 2 Angus beef patties smashed with grilled onions on a potato bun with cheese, lettuce, tomato, spicy Creole mayonnaise, and more fries. Oh my God, that meat is fabulous. That is delicious. The grilled onions, wow, that really makes it for me. That's the way I like it. Good and juicy. The food at the Iron Horse is top-notch. The service is fast and friendly, and the prices are moderate. And if you love old trains and history, you'll love the decor. From railroad signal lantern light fixtures to historic photos and models of old locomotives on the wall. Well, that hamburger was even better than Jude said. I mean, this is, I think, just shot up to number 1 on my list. So I got to come back and try some other stuff because there is a lot to choose from here. Seemed like a good time to catch a train with a sleeper car. I needed a nap.
LA Rider is brought to you by the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, a 501c3 nonprofit organization exclusively dedicated to promoting motorcycle awareness and rider safety throughout Louisiana and the nation.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us. See us. Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
Save us.
Want a high-quality used motorcycle delivered to your door with a money-back guarantee? At usedbikesdirect.com, you can choose from hundreds of high-quality American, Japanese, and European motorcycles. Just browse our website, pick your bike, get your financing, and arrange your trade-in, all from the comfort of your home. And we'll deliver it straight to your door for free, complete with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Buying a used motorcycle has never been easier or safer. Just go to usedbikesdirect.com and start shopping.
Improve your skills. Make U-turns with ease. Tighten your corners and ride with more confidence and greater control. Sign up now for Cajun Thunder's Motorcycle Skills Training Course taught by Police Instructor Mike Richard and Amanda Joe at Cajun Thunder's state-of-the-art facility in Ponchatoula. Take your riding skills to the next level with Cajun Thunder's Rider Advancement Training.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us. Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please, watch for motorcycles.
Now, if you happen to visit the Iron Horse Cafe on the 2nd or 4th Saturday of the month, drop by the Republic of West Florida Historical Museum, where kids of all ages, and that would include me, can play with model trains. trains, trains, and more trains. Model trains of every size, shape, and variety fill 2 giant rooms in the old Jackson School and spill out into the courtyard. Hundreds of trains chuff and huff and whistle. Some even smoke as they travel along literally miles of track through incredibly realistic little cities and towns and on through the countryside. As a certified tomboy growing up in the Florida town named for a railroad president, I always dreamed of having a model train. But even though we lived in a major railroad hub and my father worked for the railroad, I always got dolls and girly things for Christmas and birthdays. But this is what I really wanted. I want to touch. The trains are owned, maintained, and operated by members of the Greater Baton Rouge Model Railroaders. And this is their clubhouse, which is open to the public on the 2nd and 4th Saturdays of the month.
This is what's known as 3-rail O-gauge, or Line L trains, if you will. That's the common brand name for these type of things. And what you're running there is where we are these days with these remote controls that adults and kids can run the trains with.
Model railroader Clay Fourier says his passion for model trains began at an early age, but one of his greatest pleasures is sharing that passion with others, whether they're 8 or 80, or, somewhere in the middle. My father was a railroad man.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah, so I grew up around the railroad tracks.
I'd say it's in your blood.
Yeah, absolutely. And he used to take me on the train with him back then when you could. When you could. Can't do that anymore.
Oh, no.
But I thought that was just the most wonderful thing in the world.
Oh, gosh,
it was, yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that if you experience something like that as a child, it becomes a touchstone with you, and good times maybe with your dad.
Right.
And you keep that with you throughout your life.
Oh, I still remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never forget that.
I see that in the parents who bring children here, too. Mm-hmm. The eyes of the kids light up, but the eyes of the parents light up, too.
Right.
That's
absolutely. Since the early steam locomotives helped connect east to west to the modern freight and passenger trains that travel the rails today, many of us just seem naturally fascinated by trains. And whether you once had a model train or always wanted one, the Greater Baton Rouge Model Railroaders Clubhouse is a magical place to visit. All aboard! There's a lot to see and do in Jackson. On the Saturday we visited, the 2nd annual Jackson Car Show was in full swing. The event drew a huge crowd, hundreds of classic cars, hot rods, muscle cars, and even a few motorcycles were on display. The event was a fundraiser for the local food bank. Looking for a good ride, good food, and a lot of fun? Check out Jackson, Louisiana. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
For the best in restorative and cosmetic dental care, choose Dr. Jason Hutto. Your smile is important, and so is your overall oral health. And at the dental office of Jason Hutto, our aim is to provide the highest quality dental care. From implants and cosmetic procedures to fillings, root canals, and cleaning, choose Dr. Jason Hutto.
Hi, I'm Jason Hutto. Call for your appointment today.
But not on Fridays. That's the day we ride.
At Jandy Imports, we have everything for your ride. From high-quality leather jackets, vests, and chaps, to saddlebags, luggage, and riding boots. We have a large selection of helmets, too, and feature a full line of AmSoil and bike care products. At Jandy Imports, you'll find the area's largest selection of patches, all sewed on for you while you wait. You need it? We've got it. At Jandy Imports, the little store with the big inventory.
Come see us at Jandy Imports.
At Gian Gonzales, we do it all, from really big to the really small. Keeping you safe? No problem. We have the latest AOT racing gear found exclusively at Gian Gonzales. Don't monkey around, head on down to Gian Gonzales of Baton Rouge, where the fun begins.
For more than 40 years, Robert Rad Leonard has provided South Louisiana motorcyclists with all their needs, from a showroom jam-packed with all the latest gear to a full-service shop featuring skilled technicians who handle everything from routine service to complete engine rebuilds. Rad Cycles also carries a huge selection of pre-owned models and has the area's largest inventory of used bike parts. For all your riding needs, do what South Louisiana motorcyclists have been doing since 1978. Go Rad. Rad Cycles. They're rider recommended. Looking for a trailer? Check out Mike Gerald's Trailer Depot. At Mike's 2 Baton Rouge locations, you'll find a huge inventory of high-quality motorcycle trailers, boat trailers, cargo trailers, utility trailers, and custom-built trailers. Plus, the largest inventory of trailer parts and accessories in the area. Can't find that perfect trailer? Let Mike build one for you. Mike Gerald's Trailer Depot. 2 locations in Baton Rouge to serve you. They're rider recommended.
Want a high-quality used motorcycle delivered to your door with a money-back guarantee? At usedbikesdirect.com, you can choose from hundreds of high-quality American, Japanese, and European motorcycles. Just browse our website, pick your bike, get your financing, and arrange your trade-in, all from the comfort of your home. And we'll deliver it straight to your door for free, complete with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Buying a used motorcycle has never been easier or safer. Just go to usedbikesdirect.com and start shopping.
Welcome back. Well, spring has definitely sprung. Hundreds of Baton Rouge area riders rolled into Denham Springs to officially commemorate riding season by having their bikes blessed at the annual Fallen Riders Blessing of the Bikes. Scotty Drake was there.
Here in Louisiana, we're blessed with a year-round riding season. While some days may be too cold or too wet to ride, things only slow down a little bit in winter. For many of us, riding never stops. Nevertheless, when spring does come along, our riding season goes full throttle. And with spring comes the annual Blessing of the Bikes in Denham Springs. The Blessing of the Bikes is a production of the Fallen Riders Foundation, a nonprofit organization which supports motorcycle crash victims and their families.
You're going to have insurance that's going to cover your bike and all that, but they're not going to pay your cell phone bill, keep food in your house, get your kids to soccer practice, or pay the insurance on your car. You know how Louisiana is with insurance. So we step in and just take up some of that extra slack so they can focus on getting rehabilitated and what they need to do to get back to work so that they can get back on their feet. And that's where we come in. If there's a fatality involved, we help with the funeral expenses, costs, do an escort. Sometimes the family just wants you to be there. You know, having strangers come in when you've lost a loved one, we meet a lot of people in the worst possible time in their life. And when we come in and just add that little extra comfort to them, I mean, that makes all the difference in the world. It's not always about writing a check. Sometimes it's just about being there. And that's what we all do this from our heart.
As the weather warms and more bikes hit the highway, the potential for crashes increases greatly. And according to Pastor T, whose In the Wind Ministries handles the blessings, it is a perfect time to seek a little divine intervention.
It's just unbelievable the reception that we get from the motorcycle community and the favor that God has allowed us to have in people's lives. And that I am so thankful for that and just so honored to get to share life with them. Now, I am a big supporter of the Fallen Riders, and I might be the next Fallen Rider. And that's why I give weekly to the Fallen Riders, and I do anything I can to support them. And so that's what this was about. It was about, you know, helping bikers that could go down, and it could be any of us at any time. And today I got to see so many men and women that we have helped over the past years, and even the last year that actually went down, and I know that we helped them, that Fallen Riders Foundation. Listen, all of this is bigger than me. From the independents to the club world, they make all of this happen.
LA Riders T.W. Robinson was one of more than 600 riders who took advantage of the drive-through blessings provided by Pastor T and Associates. In fact, it was perhaps the biggest crowd yet since the Fallen Riders Foundation revived the annual event. I'm Scotty Drake.
I didn't see him.
Watch for us.
She just came out of nowhere.
See us.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Save us.
Please watch for motorcycles. You might just save someone's life. Motocross? We've got it at Gian Gonzales in Baton Rouge. All the bikes, all the gear, and the expertise to help make you #1 at the track. From beginner to expert, we've got just what you need at Gian Gonzales in Baton Rouge. Come see us today at Gian Gonzales, Louisiana's oldest family-owned power sports dealer, located in downtown Baton Rouge in the shadow of the state capitol.
Race on down to Gian Gonzales. Becoming #1 starts here.
We're waiting for you!
I didn't see him.
Watch for us.
She just came out of nowhere.
See us.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Save us.
Please watch for motorcycles. You might just save someone's life.
Just putting on leather and sitting on a bike doesn't make someone a biker. And it's easy to tell the posers from the pros.
Same goes for law firms. Just because someone's a lawyer doesn't mean they know motorcycle cases.
At Dudley Debosier, we've been fighting for injured bikers all over Louisiana for years.
After a crash, get experience on your side. Call Dudley Debosier. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley Debosier. 444-4444.
Support motorcycle safety and encourage other drivers to watch for motorcycles. Purchase a motorcycle awareness specialty plate for your car, truck, or motorcycle. For an additional $25 a year, you can help the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign promote safety, awareness, and training programs throughout Louisiana. I'm T.W. Robinson. No matter what you ride, put a MAC plate on it and help support motorcycle awareness wherever you go.
Improve your skills. Make U-turns with ease. Tighten your corners and ride with more confidence and greater control. Sign up now for Cajun Thunder's Motorcycle Skills Training Course taught by Police Instructor Mike Richard and Amanda Joe at Cajun Thunder's state-of-the-art facility in Ponchatoula. Take your riding skills to the next level with Cajun Thunder's Rider Advancement Training.
At Jandy Imports, we have everything for your ride. From high-quality leather jackets, vests, and chaps, to saddlebags, luggage, and riding boots. We have a large selection of helmets, too, and feature a full line of AmSoil and bike care products. At Jandy Imports, you'll find the area's largest selection of patches, all sewn on for you while you wait. You need it? We've got it. At Jandy Imports, the little store with the big inventory.
Come see us at Jandy Imports.
Welcome back. This is LA Rider, Louisiana's #1 source for motorcycle lifestyles, travel, and adventure. I'm TW. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, a time when all of us ask the motoring public to make a special effort to watch for motorcycles. It's something the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign does all year long.
I'm Bob Courtney. May is National Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month, a time to remind motorists to watch out for motorcycles and respect our rights on the roadway.
Because people simply aren't paying attention. They don't see the motorcyclists.
One organization that has been fighting for us to be seen on the highways and byways is the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, or MAC. MAC has been promoting motorcycle safety and awareness through rallies, events, and educational seminars across Louisiana. Additionally, MAC has produced and distributed more than 100,000 of these familiar yellow and black Watch for Motorcycle signs, which can be seen in yards, businesses, and events throughout the South.
It's been an emotional ride throughout the years, and that's how we got involved. As it turned out, through that first year, we lost 7 friends.
MAC was founded by Baton Rouge motorcyclist and HOG member Warren Broussard and some of his fellow riders after losing several close friends to distracted and inattentive drivers.
The phone rang, and my wife Mary answered the phone, and I could hear her hollering in the back, "Oh no, what?" And as it turned out, some of our friends, Altons, had been hit on a motorcycle head on, and both of them died. Wife and I got to thinking about it, and I'd been in the safety business throughout my lifetime there, doing different things, and we thought maybe we'd start raising an awareness program. It's hence motorcycle, watch for motorcycles, motorcycle awareness campaign, and that's the acronym MAC turned out to be. Another friend of ours named Mac had a crash, and we lost him.
Broussard retired as MAC's president several years ago, but he remains committed to motorcycle safety and awareness. He says today there are more things than ever competing for a driver's attention, and he's worried about what that means for motorcyclists.
It's inattentive driving is basically what it is. We sit in these big old cars with the air conditioning going and the music going and all that. We forget that we're outside with other people.
While May is officially Motorcycle Awareness Month, MAC wants motorists to watch for motorcycles every day. And by the way, when you're off the bike and in your car or truck, be sure you keep an eye out for motorcycles too.
Please help us save lives and reduce motorcycle crashes. Watch for motorcycles whenever you're on the road, and we'll do our part to make ourselves visible and operate safely too. I'm T.W. Robinson. Thanks for joining us for our 937th continuous week of LA Rider. We'll be back next week for 938. Remember, we haven't been everywhere, but it's on our list. See you next week for more LA Rider.
LA Rider is brought to you by Dudley Debosier Injury Lawyers, serving Louisiana motorcyclists and their families for nearly 2 decades. Dudley Debosier, official injury lawyers for the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign.
When you're on a motorcycle, you got to look out for all kinds of stuff. But after a crash, it's a danger you can't see that can really get you.
The insurance company is working behind the scenes to deny you compensation.
They're building a case against you, but at Dudley Debosier, we're working for you.
Keep your head on a swivel. Let these guys look out for you. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley Debosier. 444-4444.
God bless chrome cowgirls like us.